Welcome to this week's episode of This Week in Diaspora History on the Jewish Diaspora Report. Let's get started. Eighth of Adar, 1674, Barbados. The Jews of Barbados were granted permission to take an oath on the Old Testament. This permission to take an oath was the first in the New World. The island of the British West Indies was colonized in 1625. It is probable that Jews were the earliest settlers, starting in 1628. On October 29, 1669, the Jewish population presented the King of England with a petition in which they stated that measures were being taken to deprive them of the benefits of trade, and their testimony was not being admitted in court when parties were other than their own race. On February 14, 1679, a law passed granting them the privilege of taking the oath on the 5 books of Moses and giving testimony in any cases related to trade and dealings, but not otherwise. In 1675, the attempt was made without avail to have this law amended so that they could admit their testimony in all courts and causes. Also, 8th of Adar, 1825, Maryland, United States of America. Jews of Maryland were allowed to take a non-Christian oath. The emancipation struggle of 1818 to 1826, during which time the, quote, Jew Bill was debated in the legislature of Maryland. The bill proposed, quote, to consider the justice and expediency of extending to those persons professing the Jewish religion the same privileges that are enjoyed by Christians. The Jewish Bill was more formally known as an act to extend the sect of people professing Jewish religion the same rights and privileges enjoyed by Christians. It altered the state's Test Act to allow Jews to hold public office upon swearing to a belief in, quote, a future state of reward and punishments. Previously, the state constitution required public office holders to make a, quote, declaration of a belief in the Christian religion. The fight to pass it was led in the early 1820s by Jacob Cohen Jr. and Solomon Etting, who subsequently ran successfully for Baltimore City Council and became the first Jew to hold elected office in Maryland. Maryland was among the last U.S. states to remove a prohibition on Jews holding public office. 10th of Adar, 1349, Freiburg, Germany. The Jews of Freiburg, Germany are massacred in the Black Death riots. The Strasbourg massacre occurred on February 14, 1349, when several hundred Jews were publicly burnt to death and the rest of them expelled from the city as part of the Black Death persecutions. Jews were often taken as scapegoats, and accusations spread that they caused the disease and deliberately poisoned wells. This is likely because they were affected less than other people, since many Jews chose not to use the common wells of the towns and cities. Jews were also sometimes coerced through torture to confess to poisoning the town's wells. Starting in the spring of 1348, pogroms against the Jews had occurred in many European cities. Starting in Toulon, by November that year it spreads to German-speaking territories, and in January 1349, burnings of Jews took place in Basel and Freiburg. Also, 10th of Adar, 1849, Austria. Jews of the Austrian Empire were granted equal civil rights and political rights. Franz Joseph I, Emperor of Austria, King of Hungary, and other states in the Austro-Hungary Empire granted Jews equal rights. He said, quote, the civil rights of a country's policies is not contingent on a person's religion. The emperor was well liked by the Jews, which, as a token of appreciation, wrote prayers and songs about him that were printed in Jewish prayer books. In 1849, the emperor canceled the prohibition against Jews organizing within their community, and in 1852, new regulations of the Jewish community were set. In 1867, Jews formally received full and equal rights. In 1869, the emperor visited Jerusalem himself and was greeted with great admiration by the Jews. The emperor established a fund aimed at financing the establishment of Jewish institutions and the additional establishment of Talmudic schools for rabbis in Budapest. By 1890s, several Jews were even elected to the Austrian government. This has been another episode of the Jewish Diaspora Report's This Week in Diaspora History. Don't forget to check us out on social media at jdr.podcast. We'll see you next time.